Hello, it's Patrick, and welcome to some more electric vehicle news. Tesla slashed their prices yet again. Now, this shouldn't be a surprise because last year their margins were through the roof. Like compared to every other automaker, they were making an insane amount of margins. They said if they ever needed to, they could lower the prices. Elon was saying they'd rather have more vehicles on the market, and that the barrier to entry is probably price, so they need to open up the market more by coming out with lower cost vehicles. Not sure how the S and the X fit into that. They had gone up so much in price. The Model S used to only be $69,000 at one point. They had an entry level when they were very first making it of a 40 kilowatt battery that was going to be like $54,000. And it ballooned all the way up to like $150,000 on the Plaid if you got everything on it. So it's good to see it coming down again. The prices that hit are pretty good. They're up to $5,000 less than they were just a couple days ago. The Model 3, it went from basically $43,000 to $42,000. And this is the LFP shorter range Tesla, the standard range plus, which I guess they're just calling the base Model 3. And the interesting thing about this one, it loses its tax credit. It used to be $7,500 for a short window between January 1st and the end of March, and now it's down to $3,750. So the price offset helps, but it's not actually as much as the tax credit, but still not a bad deal. And if you live in a state with additional benefits, people were showing getting this car for right around $30,000 brand spanking new for a Tesla that you can do full self-driving on if you want to pay the $200 a month for it, or basically a third the cost of the vehicle if you want to buy it outright at $15,000, which is just crazy. The Model 3 Performance went down by $1,000, so you can pick one of those up for about $53,000. So the Model Y prices changed. You can pick one up now for about $50,000. And this is unique. This is the new Model Y that's being made out of Texas with the structural pack and the 4680 cells. It does have a lower range. It would be interesting to see if there's anything hidden in this vehicle, because it's actually like a whole nother version of the Model Y. It's basically like the Model Y version 1.5, because it is literally manufactured completely different. Like the battery is part of the car, and then the front and the back are these huge mega castings, and it's just all kind of crammed together. It'd be interesting to see how efficient it is, because it's probably more efficient even though the battery's smaller, which means the charge times would be quicker. Although for the price difference, I mean, you go to the long range, it's only $3,000 more, and you go up like 50 miles from like 270 to 320. So it depends on how much you need the range, right? It'll be interesting to see how this pans out. Model Y Performance, it also dropped $2,000 to now $57,000 for a brand new Performance Model Y, which is a vehicle that I have and is very nice. It's got track mode now. Model S and the X, all non-performance versions, are about the same speed, 0 to 60, as the Performance Model 3 and Y. Just a little bit off, but within a second. And speaking of the Model S, they went down in price, so they're down to $85,000 for the base, and I mean, it's $5,000 off on the Model S and X. We're talking like $20,000 down from just what it was a few months ago. Kind of hurts if you own one to see them drop in value so much, but is great if you're a new person looking to purchase one. You can get a Model S Plaid for $105,000. It used to be over $130,000. I had one. Very fast car. I'm very tempted to get another one just because the price went down so much. Especially on the used ones, they can be had for pretty good amounts. I've seen them as low as $80,000 right now for a used one. Model X prices, they went down as well, $5,000. So you can get one for $95,000, or you can get the Plaid for $105,000, which is interesting. So the Model S and X Plaids have the same price, even though the lower end there's a bigger price difference. So that's interesting. I'd really like to get a Model X Plaid. Waiting on Cybertruck right now. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, should they keep dropping the prices of the S and X? Get them back to where they used to be, at least the non-Plaid versions of them, which also have insane mode. So they're actually as fast as the non-plaid Teslas before Ludicrous. I mean, they're no slouch. Yeah, plaid is just on a whole nother level. It's so fast, it's scary, and it's dangerous, right? I mean, you hit the accelerator, and before you know it, you're 150 miles an hour, which is just crazy. In other news, JB Straubel, he's the co-founder of Tesla. He was always on the stage with Elon at all these events, a lot of the original ones I went to, and I kind of think he was the brains of Tesla, like the down-to-earth, get it done kind of brains, and Elon's kind of the like idea far out there, let's make the impossible happen type of guy. But JB was the one making it happen, and he did leave the company to start Redwood Materials, doing recycling the lithium-ion batteries. But it'd be interesting to see him back on the board. He's still very happy with Tesla, and I think he made a lot of money and went on to the next thing. But if anything were to happen to Elon, maybe he might come back and replace Elon. Anyways, if Elon left the company, it would be nice to know that JB was there still. So that'd be good, depending on stockholders voting and determining if he gets on the board, which most likely will happen here in May. The V4, the first V4 superchargers are out. It looks like kind of a low-key launch, and they are putting them out in Europe, in the Netherlands. They're open to all electric vehicles, but they're still limited to about the 250 kilowatt, even though they're saying they will ramp them up to 350 kilowatt over the course of the year. And people were looking at the specs and like, why, these could actually do more like 600 kilowatts? But there's no vehicles that can do that. Hence the Cybertruck. It's a higher voltage system, so we'll see how that works out. It'll be interesting. Tesla steering wheel retrofits are happening now. If you had an S or an X with the yoke steering, you could purchase to go with the round steering wheel. The biggest complaint I had having the yoke was not the fact that it's a yoke, but the fact that the stocks, when you're turning and you have to turn on a turn signal, it's kind of confusing. I got used to it. My wife never did. I guess it's a good thing it's there, but you still don't get the stocks. In other news, they said they're coming out with a new version of the yoke this summer with updated materials, which is good because I had my yoke replaced once in the year that I had my Model S Plaid, and almost everybody has it like tearing on the corners because I don't know if it's wrapped too tight or it's hitting on things or what, but it's almost impossible not for it to fall apart. So it's good they're coming out with a new version of the yoke, also giving people the option of getting a steering wheel. I think I'd go with the yoke again, especially if they got better materials. What would you guys pick? What would you go with, the yoke, steering wheel? I think for long drives, the yoke is better. It's a bar you can rest your hands on. You get less nag from the autopilot. It works really good. Even racing, it was kind of nice to have something really to hold on to at high speeds. Not everybody's a fan. And also being able to see the display in front of you really well. I'd go for the yoke. Speaking of going against the grain, Tesla never did CarPlay or Android Auto. Rivian, same thing. GM did go with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but in their new EVs, they're going to take it away. They're going to replace it with something better in-house. And there's something to be said for that, because the Tesla in-app apps are better than the CarPlay apps, in my opinion. Now that I have a Ford Lightning and I have CarPlay, it's kind of a pain in the butt. When I get in the car, sometimes it launches, sometimes it doesn't. I have to go through like 4 menus and press several buttons to get into the mirroring for the Apple CarPlay. And sometimes if there's like radio frequency problems or something, the wireless version of it hiccups out or delays and I gotta like restart it. It's not ideal. I mean, it's cool, but it's very limited. It seems like the apps too are more like the apps on the watch, like somewhere between like a full phone app and a watch app. They're like dumb versions of the apps that just can't do a whole lot. The Tidal app, the Apple Music app on the Tesla, and the Spotify app are much better than the CarPlay apps. So there's something to be said there. And Rivian, same thing. They're saying, they're not going to go that route. They're also going to be updating the app inside of their infotainment system to make it better, as opposed to, just enabling mirroring from your phone. So if they do it well, and when I had my Rivian, it was very well done, and it was getting better. They were just starting to add stuff when I got rid of mine in December. And I wish I hadn't. I really like the Rivian, but I got to get ready for the Cybertruck. And I had my Lightning coming in, and I have the Lightning now, so we'll see. And then speaking of electric vehicles that are trucks, Ram has finally unveiled theirs. They said they were waiting until everybody else announced their electric trucks, and then they would do one that's better than everybody's. They're talking, what year is it, 2024, that they're going to have theirs? And it's going to be like 350 kilowatt charging, which the F-150 only does like 150 kilowatt-ish. The Rivian does go 200 and some for a little while. They're talking 800 volt architecture, kind of like what the Cybertruck's going to be doing. 500-mile range at the high end, 14,000 pounds towing, 0 to 60, 4.4 seconds. Pretty beefy little truck. The battery sizes are just huge. They're talking 229 kilowatt battery on the top end. And even the low end, it's going to be 168 kilowatt battery for 350 miles of range. 500 miles of range, 229 kilowatts. That sounds about right. It's about double what's in the current pickups. I think it's 134 kilowatts in the F-150 and the Rivian, and you get around 330 miles of range. And anytime you're adding that kind of weight, I mean, kind of double the range, but then you're losing some for the weight, and that sounds about right. What's Tesla going to do? I mean, in their secret master plan 3 that Elon posted, they put the Cybertruck down as a 100 kilowatt battery. Maybe they're talking about the $40,000 one, which is probably going to be the $60,000 or $75,000 one at this point. The Ford F-150, it had the $40,000 truck to compete with the Cybertruck, which is now the $60,000 truck. So my guess is the low-end truck from Tesla, the Cybertruck, is probably going to be a similar range to the high-end F-150, but at the price of the low-end F-150. We'll see when they put out the final specs here, hopefully this summer. They said they had to get the production up for the Tesla Model Y 3680 with the structural pack out of Texas, and then they'd work on the Cybertruck. And they did. It's out now. You can buy the new 4680 cell Model Y. So that means there should be ramping up Cybertruck production. Elon said he was touring the line the other day. There's been a bunch of spy shots of them testing it out. They've been testing it out in snow. It's coming. It's a real thing. They're going to be producing this Cybertruck. Only question is, how many are they going to do this year? It could be 4. It sounds like they have several mules that they've given rides to the press in. So I would, this summer is when they were kind of talking about doing the first deliveries. Maybe in the fall, they'll do a big event and have the first few drive off the lot and reveal all the specs and have everybody start configuring. They'll probably just deliver them to employees to start, and then they'll open up the configurations, and it'll be interesting. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know in the comments on any of these stories or any that I missed. Oh, don't forget, I'm on Twitter at Walking Crow. You can email me, pox@twosmartguys.com. We'll see you guys again soon. Thanks. Bye.
This is so nice production.